Hi, we're Nia and Marianne from Seren Health Coaching. We are metabolic health coaches who are passionate about good metabolic health for everyone. We also love to chat about all things health and to share as much information as we can with people who want to make changes to their lifestyle but aren't quite sure where to start. We're going to release a new episode every Friday where we talk about a different aspect of health. So do subscribe and let us know what you think. We'd also love to know what you're interested in too. So if there's something that you'd like us to have a chat about, do send us a message and we'll do our best to cover it soon. Righty ho. Good morning, Marianne.
Good morning, yeah. How's you?
A bit chilly.
Are you after all that heat? Golly, it's about
Apparently it's
overcast
21
here.
degrees, but I'm cold.
No, yeah, it is overcast here, and we've had a tiny bit of sort of coastal drizzle, which is rather
Ooh.
nice for the plants. Although the deer have
Yeah.
eaten most of my plants, so they're actually all in some sort of hospital now, tied up in nets because the
Oh,
deer found my garden unusually and ate all my
most of it.
geraniums, begonias, all sorts of things. Ate them right down to the hydrangeas. They like those.
No.
Maddening. Not that I'm, a fabulous gardener, but I have got some pots. But anyway, that's us. We've got a little, slightly short and interesting podcast this morning, I think, about vanilla sniffers.
This made
That
me really laugh.
vanilla sniffers that come to the rescue from cravings, and
Sweet
we
cravings.
sweet cravings. And we were asked by one of our listeners, does this actually work? And it was quite an interesting discovery.
Mm. So I would just like to start with a caveat that
Oh no.
firstly it sounds
Oh no.
firstly sounds a bit weird,
Yeah.
and secondly, obviously I have many questions, but I don't actually like the smell of vanilla. So will it work for everybody? It's an interesting one, isn't it?
Yes. That's not clear. And you'd
The
have to
manufacturers.
ask the yeah. Well, I think you'd have to ask the consumers, but what you don't know, I suppose, and maybe aren't aware of, because smells are very weird things, is that
Yes.
you do eat, probably not you so much, but we all eat quite a lot of vanilla in confectionery that we aren't necessarily aware of. So vanilla is a
Oh, okay.
very
Because it's a very common ingredient,
common
isn't it? Yeah.
ingredient. So I would say it's not necessary whether you like it or not. It
Okay.
it, it is associated with sweet treats, and
Okay.
you might not be aware of it. And I do think the whole sniff thing is very interesting. So at
Okay.
first, you sort of think, really? You're sniffing some vanilla and then you're not going to eat a Kit Kat? How does this work? This does sound pretty way out there.
It
Is
does.
it too
Okay.
good to be true?
Well,
Mm,
okay. Come
okay,
on then. Tell me all about
okay.
it. What do you have to do?
Maybe, maybe this is out there, but it is based on quite an interesting idea, actually. So when I did a bit of digging,
Yeah.
Um, I'm going to tell you all about it. I'm going to really make you a sales pitch, and you are the hardest person to put a
To sell
sales
to.
pitch to. If I was a marketer, I'd be thinking, "No, not her, please, not her." It's like that. It's like that judge you really don't want, because you're by nature, I think, pretty cynical about things that aren't very proven. So,
Mm.
but I'm going to make this pitch anyway because I found the pitch to me more interesting than I thought.
Okay. Go on then. Tell me all about it.
Okay, so according to Company Blurb, now I don't know if there are more companies making sniffers, but this was a particular company making a vanilla sniffer. It's called
Hmm.
Killer Vanilla, by the way, which I thought was quite a cool name.
Mm.
It's an olfactory regulator of appetite, which sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? It's made
Yes.
from pure essential oils. It's got a soothing vanilla scent, which you might not find soothing, of course, because you've now told me you don't like vanilla. But
Yeah.
I think this could still be interesting for you. And it is all natural, and I couldn't find anything harmful about this product.
Okay.
So that's sort of a good start, isn't it? And it's sold basically as an anti snacking device.
So it looks like a lip balm, doesn't it?
It does look like a lip balm. Slightly bigger lip balm. Yes, exactly.
Hmm.
The other good thing is it's actually not very costly, which,
Well,
you
that's good.
know, well, it's sort of reassuring, but also you think, oh, well, if it's not very costly, it's not obviously going to work. Because there's this funny juxtaposition
Hmm.
between something being, like we did with the red light
Should
therapies,
not just
the
buy a
more
scented candle.
costly. Yeah. Well, that's interesting, but you'd have to light the candle each time you got a craving. This is, based on the company's
Science.
marketing. It's all about awareness and giving people something other than sugar to treat cravings. So we all get cravings, some of us
Hmm.
more than others. And
Hmm.
this awareness business is really interesting for me because I think it's really important. And we sell this within our own health coaching, really. We sell the idea that change in habits is all about awareness first because you're not aware
Yes.
that you get a craving. All
Yes.
you know is that you really want a Kit Kat or you really want what, but you don't associate that with craving. You actually often think that you have a character defect. That's for
Yes.
me what it felt like. That other people could say, "Oh no, I won't have chocolate cake," but I was like, "Oh, I definitely want chocolate cake."
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Why would you not
so
have it?
you
Yeah.
wouldn't call that necessarily a craving, okay? So cravings are universal and they are wound up in the dopamine story,
Mm.
the reward system. Okay. The
Yeah. So
neuro,
as
yeah,
we know, don't we, when we
yeah,
eat sugary food, our brain lights up and
yeah,
goes, "Oh, this is lovely. It's very
exactly.
pleasurable."
Yes.
So it's kind of reward and
Yes.
yeah.
And that's proven on scans, isn't it?
Yes, they do brain scans and then
Which
you'll
was
have
really interesting. And there's links to addiction. And also, we've got, you can't really call it addiction in the same sense, but it's the same reward pathway.
yeah.
So, sugar is an incredibly, I think, powerful device for that dopamine pathway.
Yeah.
And you know why, of course, because the mechanism is essential for our survival, that dopamine. And
Yeah.
it plays
So
a major part in staying alive.
yeah, absolutely. So all that stuff about,
Yeah.
seasonal animals like the
Yes.
bear and
Yes.
gorging on the stuff when we've got it, we were supposed to feed on
Eat
it so that
eat
we
it
could,
madly. Yeah.
yeah, store
Which was
fat.
really interesting when we first looked at that, and we looked at that, the bear hibernation stuff, and the
Mm,
fact that seasonal fruits are there for a reason.
yeah.
To get us
Yeah.
through the winter, who
To get
knew?
you through
I
the
mean, it
winter,
is
yeah.
so incredibly clever, nature,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it, the ecosystem. So the bear gorges on, if he could find honey, and bears and honey, fairly well documented. Um,
Yeah.
and we are exactly the same, except of course our seasonal landscape
Is
is
very
no
different.
longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So now we still want the sugar, but the sugar is far more accessible
Exactly,
and we
exactly.
don't have a food drought anymore.
So yeah, so this is the story, and we accept the story, don't we?
Yeah.
That while most foods can trigger your brain to release dopamine, sugar gives the biggest hit.
Yeah.
So your brain doesn't really need sugar,
It just
just the
wants the
dopamine
dopamine.
response it
Yeah.
creates. Right, we're in agreement with this. This is fairly okay science, right?
Yeah.
And sugar cravings are triggered by certain actions and circumstances. So we sort of know that as well. So the whole cortisol story, so lack of sleep, levels of stress, emotional
Yeah, so we
pain.
know that when we're
Yeah,
low on energy, either because we're very stressed
yeah,
or we haven't slept very well
yeah.
or,
Well, we've even done
circumstances,
a marathon run. I mean,
yeah,
whatever
whatever, but
depletes our
we will
system. Yeah,
our brains know that we will get quick release energy very
yeah,
fast from
yeah,
sugar, so we are more likely to choose a sugary food.
yeah,
Nobody has like, I mean, maybe there are some people, but if you have a baby and you have like 3 hours sleep one night because
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah,
terrible and
yeah,
they're teething, the next morning, if you gave somebody a
yeah,
choice, they would have a bowl
yeah.
of Cocoa Pops over a boiled egg.
Yes, interesting. And I think all of that very true, and we've proved that in the past, really. So, killer vanilla works by using neuroscientific phenomenon called the cross-modal sensory compensation effect. Don't really understand that, but you sort of
CMSCE.
will. You
Okay.
sort of will. Okay. I mean, this they say discovered in 1990. Participants were asked to rate two strawberry scented solutions. One was
Okay.
red and the other was colorless. And guess which one they liked better?
So yeah, so
Yeah.
this
So
is
there's
like the red one.
association between
If you've got the smell
the
and the color,
stimulus.
yeah.
Exactly.
This is
N-
like Calpol. Purple Calpol is perceived to work better than colorless Calpol.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay. That's really interesting. So they made, isn't it pink? Or is it purple?
it's purple.
It's purple. Oh, I've never really known that. But yes, you're so right. And if you were a parent giving your child that Calpol, you
Mhm.
would think the pink purple one worked better?
Yeah, so this is the thing about children's medicine is that
Right.
this is very boring for everybody else, but
No, I love it.
the
Yes.
formulations are designed to make the child not only taste it, like the taste so that they
Yeah.
will take it, but also perceive that there's something
Yes.
fun or exciting about it. And of course,
Yes. I've never
there's
thought of that, but all the antibiotics are quite
yeah,
bright coloured, aren't they?
there's no benefit to the color whatsoever. It's simply to get
Right.
people to take it, which is why I'm the boring parent and
You get the
always bought the
colourless
colorless
one.
one. Yeah.
Yes, the shocking one with no additives, that one.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, and you could even look at things like a Lemsip, which I've never really used, but
Oh,
my children love them
my
because they
husband
think
loves
that they
Lemsip.
work
Yeah.
better.
And I
Very
sit down
weird.
with him. I mean, he's a clever chap. I sit down with him and I say, "Look, this is the dose of paracetamol that you need to
Yeah.
make a difference. This is the dose you're getting in your Lemsip. Can we talk about how
And
this is
it's
not
much cheaper
therapeutic?"
to buy the cheap paracetamol.
Yeah.
I've never taken, to my knowledge, a Lemsip, but they
I've
all love
tried it, but
them.
it's foul.
No,
No,
but
thank you.
it's meant to work better. Anyway, that's really
Ta
interesting. So they're using the same
kind
thing
of
there,
idea.
aren't they?
Yeah.
The same kind of idea. Okay. And the results were very simple of the study that they talk about. The red one was perceived to smell stronger,
Mm, mm.
proving that one sense can influence another. And
Of
I
course.
think
Yeah.
that's really true.
And that's true because you've done like they do blindfold studies and all sorts of
Yes.
things with the
Yes.
taste, don't
Okay.
they, to see.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
basically what they're saying is this olfactory
Yes.
thing is
Yes.
if you smell sugar or if you
Yes.
smell something
Yes.
sweet, your brain thinks you've had it, so therefore
Exactly.
you don't crave it.
You got
I
it.
get
You
that. I
got
think
it.
that's
Okay.
fairly I think that's
Yeah,
fairly clever
this
and I
isn't
reasonable.
completely ridiculous, actually. So, vanilla is the flavor in many sweets and sweet treats.
Mhm.
Not that you're necessarily aware of it. So,
No,
when
but
you
it is in most
smell
things, yeah.
vanilla, it tricks your brain into thinking you've had a sugar treat. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure mine would be tricked by that, but triggers the brain's internal reward system. So it releases a bit of dopamine without the triggers, without the confectionery,
Yeah.
and satisfies the craving.
Okay.
And does it work?
Well, yeah, you see, this is, and I also have another question. It's like, if that works, that's great, isn't it? Because obviously you
Yes,
sniff the vanilla and then you don't have the cookie or whatever. But what do you have to keep sniffing the vanilla
yes.
forever?
Yeah. No, no. And to be fair to this company, they make quite a good play for behavior change based on an
Okay.
awareness around this. So actually, it's not buy our product forever because if you don't have the vanilla sniff, you're going to go back to the Kit Kat.
Right.
They sell you a 3 month, and I like that too. They say this isn't going to change in a minute,
Yeah.
that you need at least 3 months to change some ingrained habits. I mean, the sugar habit goes a long way back. I watch my breastfeeding granddaughter and think it starts there,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah. Because breast milk is incredibly sugary, isn't it?
Very sweet for good
Yeah.
reason, because you know how they grow. So I can see that this is a very ingrained, and we know it's ingrained because if you're in nature foraging, sweet things will almost never be poisonous.
Yes.
So there's lots of good science here.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so what I do like is what they're saying is that the sniffing and the olfactory crossover
Hmm.
is just one part of what makes this product effective. The
Okay.
next part is that somebody who buys this wants to change their the way they live with sugar,
Mhm.
And this will foster an awareness of
Mhm.
that trigger system, which will then allow them. I mean, we do exactly the same thing, except we don't use the vanilla.
Yeah.
But so this is a device really that promotes behavior change because you become aware of the triggers. And I really like the awareness business. And remember, habit is something we perform unconsciously. We talked about that before.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
because
So,
excess sugar consumption is a habit, which
mm,
is triggered by lots of different things, the idea is we disrupt that trigger, craving, action, reward. Trigger, craving, action, reward, craving.
yeah.
We
Yeah.
disrupt
So
that cycle.
disrupt the cycle. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I get that. And I think that's understandable. I like that they use their 3-month thing, although I'm a bit
Yes.
skeptical that they've just
Well,
kind of
yeah.
put that in.
Yeah. Well,
And
I think it's better than saying 21 days, which is what a lot of stuff's based on.
mm,
Change your
mm,
life in 21 days, and we know that it's just not
mm.
generally 21 days. Okay. Well, so
Okay.
3 months, you get a
So,
pack. Yeah.
yeah, fair enough. So, yeah, I think I can understand it. I think it's quite clever.
I think it's quite clever.
It's obviously a new thing. So, but I do have, questions because would it wear off
Well,
over
that they
time?
don't mention. And like all smells, I don't know if you use perfume ever, but the frustration is that you smell something and really like it,
And
but
then you
when
go
you
nose
use it,
blind.
nose blind, is that a thing?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that's very
Apparently,
interesting.
apparently
Yes.
you get used to the
Yes.
smell.
Any smell.
Yeah, so for long enough. I mean, we all associate fragrances with certain people.
Yes,
Like
we
I've
do
got a
quite strongly.
Yeah, so my sister used to wear a perfume by Estee Lauder when she was
Yeah.
about 16, and it
Yeah.
was called Beautiful.
Yes.
Um, I think it was Estee Lauder, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was
Yeah.
definitely called Beautiful. Anyway,
Yeah.
she'd gone to college
Yeah.
and I was doing my GCSE exams,
Yeah.
and unbeknownst to me, one of the teachers wore the same perfume, and she walked past my desk
Yeah. And
as
you
I was
thought,
doing
oh,
exam. I
there's
thought,
my
"Oh, my
sister.
sister." Yeah, really weird.
That's really interesting. And I've worn the same perfume for nearly 50 years. Isn't that awfully
Yeah.
boring?
Well, I no,
And
no,
I
I do
and
the
I
same.
still love it. And
Me too.
my kids will all tell you that when they smell that smell, they
They know
think
it's
of
you.
me.
Yeah.
And my snuggly breastfeeding babies smelt it, which is probably really bad now. Now I know more about chemicals, but anyway, there's lots of things I probably would undo about my child rearing. Now I know more. But what I mean is that smell association is incredibly strong.
And it's
But I
incredibly
can't smell it,
reassuring.
which is really maddening. I can't
Yeah.
smell it. So will the vanilla sniffer,
Yeah.
will it stop working when they
After
don't smell it? That's a good
yeah.
question. There's absolutely no, I can't find anything about that. Um, they do give you quite a lot of reviews, and
Mm.
not most of their reviews are obviously very good.
Mm.
But if you look online in general, you'll see some mixed reviews basically about this
Yeah.
product.
So I think it might be quite a personal thing.
Maybe, so
And
maybe
if you don't like the smell of vanilla like me, you might not
this
want
could
to use
not
it.
be so great. No,
Yeah. And I
exactly.
wonder if the same thing would work if you did it with a different, like a fresher smell. So instead of
Yes,
trying to
strawberries.
well,
I don't
yeah,
know.
but no,
Yeah.
I just mean like bergamot or
Oh, okay. So
citrusy,
a
or
distraction
would
smell
the
rather than
distraction
a
smell, yeah, be more
yeah.
would that
Okay.
work? I don't know. Could it be something else? Does it really work? Or is it simply a very simple
Yeah.
way of doing behavior change, which has a sort of placebo effect
I
in that
mean,
you believe that if you sniff it, you won't eat the cookie, so therefore
yeah, I like
you
that
do.
too. So and why not harness any of those effects
Well,
really?
there's nothing wrong with it. So long as
No.
it's not physically damaging,
Exactly. So
why
what
not?
I think Killer Vanilla are onto something in the sense of the concept. Maybe this will need refining in the future, but
Hmm.
it might be that people will walk around with distracting olfactory devices in their pockets. Who knows? So when they get really anxious, will they smell a Japanese forest, in their
Well,
pocket?
actually, you say that, but you know how we do talk about people who are very sensory and smell
Yeah.
orientated. So I actually think I am one of those people who is
Okay.
very susceptible to smell.
Yeah.
So um, I remember that I would use the smell of my perfume as like a grounding thing.
Okay.
So
For
because I,
yourself.
for
Yeah.
myself,
Yeah.
so I played the violin
Yes.
and my perfume would wear off onto the chin rest and the shoulder rest
Oh,
of
so
my
you could
violin.
smell it when you picked it up.
Yeah, and actually that was quite
Really
soothing.
reassuring,
Yeah, and
yes, because you're
especially
always
with
anxious if you're performing with your
yeah,
violin.
yeah,
Interesting, interesting. Not something I've ever thought about. So when the listener suggested we look at Killer Vanilla, I thought we are definitely not going to buy this. But
yeah.
actually, there's more to this than meets the eye, and I like that. The violin story is a great story where a smell triggers some sort of reassurance in you.
And it's the same with you and your children with the
The
perfume.
familiarity of smelling that smell that
Yeah.
is your mother, to associate that smell with
Yeah,
caring and nurturing of a
yeah. Of
mother.
a
How
mother,
incredible.
there is certainly something about this olfactory mechanism
Yes, I
that
agree.
is known.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm interested that the answer to not craving sugar is more sweet, and I think I kind of
Yes.
understand that, but I
Yes. It's
do
not the whole story.
yeah,
Ok.
and I wonder what happens overall if you kind of
Yeah.
carry on with the sweet thing. Does it actually work long term, or does it trigger more cravings or more wanting of sweets? But that's
Mm,
maybe because I find the sweet smell of vanilla quite cloying
yeah,
and
and
I don't
and
like it.
yeah. But I also think you would get used to the smell and it might not be as effective.
Mm,
But what we're talking about is raising awareness in this person about
yeah.
the triggers around craving
So what are they
sugar. So,
suggesting that you do instead? So you sniff the stick, but what do you then do?
aha. So what we know, I suppose, and the other thing that they do sell this product on, of course, is around the testament to the power of science and personal
Mm.
transformation. So we've talked
Mm.
about that, but also it's sold as a weight loss product, which I'm not that mad about, and neither are you. But if we put that aside, it's they talk about it's a way to take back control of your life and your health, and
Mm.
it makes a positive impact, and it's life changing. Okay, I mean that's
Mm.
going quite hard,
Far.
but you're a marketer and you've got to sell a product. But what I'm interested in is I thought you would completely throw all this out. You're not completely against this, are you?
No, I do think there's something in it, perhaps.
You know that the first time this was talked about in any big way was around COVID, wasn't it?
Of
Because
course. Yeah.
people literally lost their sense of,
So
they couldn't
smell.
work out at first. You remember when I lost mine? I
Yeah.
couldn't work out. It took me a while to work out that things didn't taste right.
Yeah.
But then I realized I couldn't smell
Smell.
either, and I
Yeah.
couldn't work out if it was smell or taste because 'cause they're so incredibly
Yeah.
intermingled. But what I did find was that I lost my appetite completely.
Yeah. It's also a sign of Parkinson's. It's an early sign of Parkinson's
Oh,
disease.
don't tell me that, but mine has come
Yours
back.
has come
Yes.
back. I mean
Yeah,
like
okay.
a chronic loss
Yeah,
of
okay,
sense of
that's
smell.
really
Yeah.
interesting. So it's also to do with, eh,
Of
they
what's
it's
happening in your brain.
a
It's incredibly
complex,
complicated.
yeah,
Yeah.
complex. Okay, so I was very interested that if you can't taste or smell things, that you're
Mm.
less likely to be appetite triggered. I
Yeah.
found that really interesting. So would the effect wear off? Maybe. Do we all associate vanilla with sugar, which is also what you have talked about? I think we subconsciously probably do, even if we don't necessarily love vanilla. I
Mm.
mean, vanilla ice cream, most people
So I
love
don't have a
it.
problem with vanilla ice cream, funnily enough.
No, I bet you don't. Well,
But
that's because
like
it's mixed with fat and sugar, of course.
well, yeah. I mean, and also I wouldn't say that I wouldn't also put in vanilla into cooking. I do, and
Mm.
into custard and things like that. And what I'm saying is I don't like vanilla
It's
as
not
in
a smell.
I wouldn't choose a vanilla body lotion. I wouldn't
No,
choose a
no,
vanilla
you're
scented
right. It's
candle.
quite cloying, actually. I
Yeah.
probably wouldn't either, but I do understand that association with ice cream or custard and that lovely smell of vanilla. So I can
Mm,
see why that would trigger a craving. But I do wonder if your brain would override the effect over time. But there's a lot of happy customers, and it's a very simple device. And
mm,
if it helps you to change a habit that you really want to change, because remember, if you're buying this product, you're already wanting to change something.
mm. So you're kind of already
Yeah.
in the active stage of
Yes.
wanting to do something. So
Change, yes. You're on that
y-
change cycle we've talked
yeah.
about. You're ready for change if you are going to invest some money in a product that you think will change your behavior, right?
So whether or not this means that it wouldn't work for everybody, because if you weren't
Yeah.
ready to make a change,
I think you're halfway there buying the product.
yeah,
And the other thing we do know about habits, though, which is, I think, also interesting, is it's not only about changing the habit, it's about replacing the habit.
yeah. I think you've got to be fairly self-directed to do this. I think it's a thing that a lot of people will buy on a whim, and
Yeah.
they may be well
Yeah.
within their readiness to change to get there,
Yeah.
but I also think that it won't be sustained unless they
Yeah, putting
can
other
put
things.
other things in.
And to be fair to the company, they
They say
describe
that.
that really well in their stuff. They say this is only a part of the effectiveness, because what you're going to do then is stack habits. And they talk about using that trigger
Yeah.
and then stacking other good habits. So instead of getting the sugar craving, maybe you've got to put something else in place, which is sort of what I am trying to say, is that you can't have a vacuum.
Mm,
You can't just say, I'm going to sniff this, then I don't crave sugar. There will be some sort of displacement has to go on. So you're going
yeah.
to have to build in, I don't know, eating better, exercise, whatever it is, sleeping better, and then make it part of that whole cycle of change rather than I'm just going to sniff a vanilla sniffer every time I want a Kit Kat, which is obviously absurd.
Yeah.
So the suggestions are definitely there about behavior change, and we are behavior changers, and
Mm,
we also understand that displacement and the stacking of habits.
mm.
So could we use this? You know, the habit of using sugar in our world to soothe stress is so well known and so well documented. So it's you really can't argue about that.
No, I would just question whether or not it made it better or worse in the long run, but that's to be
Yeah,
found out, isn't it? But
exactly.
to be found out. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And we do know that the emotional triggers are very big when it comes to sugar cravings. And, you're not necessarily going to erase people's big emotional triggers with an
Mm,
olfactory device.
mm,
But what you might do is make them aware of that trigger sort of cycle. For me, just being aware of it was really useful, because what I took away from it was, oh, I see, I'm not just of bad character that I want
mm,
that chocolate cake. There's multifactorial stuff that really explains why I want the sugar. And
mm.
so it's not just because I'm hopeless. Now I understand why at 4 o'clock in the afternoon at work I really crave sugar. It's very
Because I
easy
need
to
that
eat
hit.
really well until I get to 4 p.m. and then it all goes completely. So
Mm,
if I'd smelt a vanilla device at 4 p.m., how would that have gone? I can't be sure. But what I do know is if I had bought such a thing and I understood why I was doing it, it might have been a help. So
mm,
knowing the science behind the sort of cravings and how universal it is, it takes away some of the shame and guilt around sweet eating when you realize the driver's not just your bad character, and it's much more rooted in science.
mm.
So I'm not a salesperson for Kilo Vanilla, but I think it's an interesting use of science.
Yeah. Okay. Fascinating. Thank you. Interesting one today. See you
See you
later.
soon. Bye for
Bye.
now.